Hi, hello, I hope you are having a great morning so far. So today I want to talk to you about how you're talking to yourself on a regular basis. And the reason why this is so important is that we actually need to start to identify our thought patterns. And the reason why we want to identify our thought patterns is because our thoughts produce certain feelings and our feelings produce certain behaviours. So what we need to establish is we need to establish how we're talking to ourselves on a regular basis. Because, for example, if you have a certain thought that you're not good enough, you're going to act in a way that's consistent with that. So it's really important to identify the thought patterns so that you can start to talk to yourself in a different way. And if you start to talk to yourself in a different way, it's going to change the way that you feel, and then it's going to produce a different behaviour. So it's going to produce behaviours that are aligned with the way that you feel in a positive way as opposed to in a negative way. So one of the easiest and simplest ways to identify how you're talking to yourself is actually to start to keep a diary. So what I would recommend that you do is keep a diary over the next week. So for a period of 7 days, start to make a note of all of your thoughts. So literally every time a thought pops into your head, so whether that's you're telling yourself you're not good enough, that you're not capable, any form of doubt or self-limiting belief, or any particular way that you talk about yourself in a negative way, I want you to write it down. And I want you to keep a diary, because what that will do is it will enable you to start recognizing if there are any patterns. So if we think in a certain way, we have a certain thought and it only pops up in our head every so often, it's probably not going to be much of a problem. But if you think in a certain way every single day, or it's repetitive, then that's when it can start to become a problem. Because like I say, you then produce those behaviours and you start to act in a way that's consistent with that kind of thinking. So over the period of the next week, 7 days, keep a diary and just write everything down. Start to identify how you're talking to yourself on a regular basis. This will help you to improve your levels of self-awareness as well, because sometimes we actually don't really know how we're thinking and feeling. So this is a great exercise to help you to identify that as well. Then once you've got your diary in place, what I want you to do is I want you to map out where you are currently and map it across to where your ideal is, or where you would like your ideal to be. So for example, if your current way of thinking is I'm not good enough, your ideal might be I am good enough, or I am worthy enough. So I want you to map that across from where you are now to where your ideal is. And then I want you to start to establish how can you actually start to take small steps towards that ideal. How can you start showing up and thinking, feeling, and then behaving aligned with what your ideal is. So it's taking those small actionable steps. So just remember, monitor how you're thinking about yourself. And the reason why it's so important is because our thoughts produce our feelings, and our feelings then produce our behaviours, so the way we act. So often the results that we get in the outside world are of a direct relation, a direct correlation to how we're thinking and feeling on the inside. So if we can change the way we think and feel, we can often change our results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in with you next week just to find out how you've all got on with this particular task, and to see how you've been able to identify those negative thought patterns, and we can establish a way for you to be able to move forward with those and adopt a new way of thinking. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to comment below or raise them in the group. But thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you again very soon. Bye for now.